what happens when Paul is born?
Okay, so Paul is born, and so I felt like God never makes a mistake, but then I thought the God never makes a mistake is it's going to be perfect. So he will not make a mistake because it'll be wonderful. And so he had a surgeon who was amazing, had a great experience. We were in University of Michigan because that was the best doctor in the world for his type of surgery. High success rate. Did really well. We were discharged probably like 10 days, something like that, 8 to 10 days after his surgery, came home. He was struggling a bit at first, but then he was thriving. And I thought, okay, this is what God is doing, is we're going to have this son that's amazing, in that he's overcome something and had all these great plans for his life. And then when he was almost 7 weeks old, we took him in to the doctor for his checkup. Our regular cardiologist wasn't there, and there was a substitute. And the substitute was like, oh my gosh, he looks amazing. He's great. He doesn't need all this medicine. And so we said, okay, that's great, because we were literally up all night giving him little syringes of medicine every feeding. I mean, I had charts all over the place, and it was before cell phones with timers. I mean, it was a lot because you couldn't miss a dose. Right. So we thought, this is great. Like, we're going to move to a new stage of his life. But I remember getting home that night, and a friend of mine from college had helped me sort of through this. From high school, had helped me through the process. He was a pediatric cardiologist. And I called him, and it was the night right before I was going to Paul's first baby shower. And he said, what did he take him off? And, do you ever have that sinking feeling where somebody wants to clarify something, and you're thinking,
no,
what?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, and so he said, could you tell me exactly what he took him off? And I'm thinking, oh, my heart was pounding.
Oh, boy.
So I tell him, and he's like, he needs that medicine. And I said, well, we were out. Like, I don't have that. And he said, yeah, I think you need to take him in to the doctor. And I said, well, what do I say? Like, I don't even know what he had. What do I need? And then he said, just call their office. And I said, well, what if they're not there? Like, it was 6:00 on a Friday. And he said, leave a message. And I said, do I need to go to the ER? And he said, well, you don't need to go to the ER, I don't think. So I was like, okay. So then I just sort of pushed it away. So I called, left a message, and thought, okay, well, the baby shower's in 30 minutes. And I'm one of those, like, I have to be there because 30 people are waiting for me. So I take Paul. Things were great. And I just had left the message and sort of thought, okay, we're going to be okay. Well, 2 days later, so this was Friday. So Sunday night, in the middle of the night, Paul screamed. David picked him up to help me nurse him, was burping him, and he went limp in his arms. And so we called 911. And they came. Dave went with him. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I called a friend that would come stay with Katie so that I could go to the hospital. And while I was waiting, I called John on the phone.
Who was your friend?
Sorry, John was my friend who's the pediatric cardiologist. And I said, okay, so he stopped breathing. We don't know. He just went limp. What should I do? And I was ready to write down everything I needed to tell the doctor. And John just said, I'm so sorry. And I remember thinking, okay, thank you for being sorry. Please just tell me. What do I tell them in the ER? Like, help me figure this out. And John just wouldn't say anything. And this was 3 a.m. And so I hung up the phone and I got on my knees and I begged God. Like, I begged like I have never begged God. I mean, I remember just saying, God, I will teach Bible study every day the rest of my life. I will never stop reading the Bible. I will do everything that you would ever ask of anybody. Just do this thing for me, please. And so I got up and our friends came. It was a couple, so she stayed with Katie. Jim drove me to the hospital. And sort of on the way, I was thinking, okay, God's going to come through. He's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. We'll just get in there. It'll be great. And I get to the ER, and I go to the front desk, and I tell them who I am. And the woman says, I'm so sorry. And I remember saying, thank you for being sorry. Just where are they? Like, what's going on? And she said, I'm sorry, your son is dead. And I felt like I'd been kicked in the gut. Yeah. Like, wow, we did all that. And just so much sadness. Like, God, you let me get my hopes up. You let me go to Michigan and have this perfect surgery and everyone say he's doing great. You let all that happen. And you let this end with a doctor making a mistake. And so it was just sort of this swirl of like, how could this even happen? And I remember just, they led me to the room where Dave was sitting. He was holding Paul. And I held him for the last time. And he was 2 months old.